Hello everyone, this is Eric Ellingwood here today, and I found a new mountain bike at Walmart, one that, in terms of the tire thickness, is pretty good, and I might actually want to get to try and fix it up a bit more. Well, let me give you my review on it. Well, first off, the only thing that's, in terms of riding, there's nothing really wrong with it. The only thing, it's a really good bicycle, actually. Other than that one of the brakes was rubbing a little bit, which that's nothing easy, just turn that and it would be good. There wasn't really anything really wrong with it. So, the only things that I can find wrong with it is the parts. Personally, if I was to get this, I'd probably drop some money into it. The only thing I would do differently, first off, I want to talk about the handlebar width. Some bicycles will actually make handlebars where from the stem will actually come out like out to here in some cases, even though it's probably a little wide, because by having wider handlebars makes it more maneuverable and more stable on the trails. And so when you wrench it on the trails, the bicycle doesn't move around, doesn't move underneath of you as much. But then again, though, that was actually, and then you just compensate that by physically moving yourself a bit more, and that also would be good if you were on, say, really small trails. But so the handlebars aren't much of a problem. The only other things which I would change, rim brakes. Rim brakes are good, but they're not as. But in wet, muddy conditions, they're not as powerful as their rim brakes in wet conditions aren't really as powerful as, per se, disc brakes. And the other thing that you could change is give it a lockout suspension fork and also quick release skewer on the thing rather than having, so if you wanted to get it in the car rather than having to bring wrenches with you, you wouldn't have to use any tools at all. And the other thing that I see wrong with it is the gear ratios. Number one, that looks like it's a maybe say a 28, 48, 53 gear ratio. I can tell you, you'd be better off having something more of like a maybe say a 20, 30, 40, maybe say a 22, 32, 42, because first off, you're almost never going to use a 50 unless if you're on, say, like a time trial bike, 53, and even then you're just grinding, making yourself fatigued, burning carbs, not fat. Again, carbs make you lean, fat makes you fat. But the other thing, which I'll get to the tires in a minute, is and the other thing is that this, I'm pretty sure it's a freewheel. Yeah, that looks like a freewheel to me. And then again, it's like a looks like, oh, it says right on it. That's a surprise, actually. It's a 28 tooth, okay? And you'd be better off having 4 more teeth. When you're going on a trail, trust me, having 32 instead of that's like a 1328 freewheel. I can tell you what, cassettes are stronger than freewheels, and the other thing is that 32s are much lower and they allow you to roll over stuff much better, and 13s just go faster. In fact, even though I definitely do think that triple rings are good, the bicycles are moving towards one-by systems where you have where rather than having a low gear ratio in the back and having a huge one in the front, instead you have a huge gear ratio, like I think Shimano or SRAM just came out with like a 1050. I'm personally waiting for someone to make or come out with a 850 or 852 even. And you only have one chainring in the front, and even then, this is more oriented towards having even the low gears being pretty high. The future is having the more gears in the back, having lower gears in the front. Have a nice time, a good day, and a beautiful life. Sign up for YouTube and subscribe.